Good morning. It is Friday, May 8th, and today I want to talk about task 10 of your The Island project. Uh, Task 10 is going to be kind of one of the main things I'm going to look at as far as ELA, and they are your journal entries. So those would be like where you're recording what has happened once you've gotten to the island, for everybody to kind of, for I guess for you to have as a keepsake, um, theoretically from your adventure there. Okay, so just like everything else, I think the first thing that you should do is look at the instruction booklet. So we're going to go ahead to the task 10 instructions, and they are in the middle of the third page right there. And here's what it says. You have 10 different journal entries to complete about your adventure on the island. Each journal entry has a topic listed that your journal entry should be about. This is listed at the top of the page and in bold on the left side of the page. These journals are telling you that the story of what happened while you, these journals are you telling the story of what happened while you and your group members were carrying out this mission on the island. Try to be specific with your language and use describing and sensory words to make your journals come to life. The more description you provide, the more Pre-Age Park Corporation will know about the island. Okay? So those are your directions from the booklet. Now, one thing I also want you to take note of in the booklet is that there is a rubric for the journals in your booklet as well. It is called Task 10 Journal Entries Checklist. Okay? So that is how I'm going to grade your journal entries. Okay, so before you start writing these, you might want to check here and look for exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, and I've mentioned this on some other videos, but I'll go over it again. Okay, so the first thing is, since this is a journal, if you're doing a journal, you should have a date for every new journal entry. Okay, so the first thing on here is contains date. All right, so that's usually up at the top. Maybe the top right, you'll write the date, and that'll tell the person reading when this happened. Okay. Uh, then the next one focuses on listed topic. So what that means is each one of the journals is going to have a certain topic that it's supposed to be about. So for instance, the first one here says right there, setting uh, foot setting foot on the island for the first time. Okay, so this journal entry should be focused on what happened or what it was like to set foot on this island for the first time when you get there. Okay. Next two is stuff that we've talked about all year. Okay, contains specific language. So don't say him or them or it or we went there. This happened. Be very specific. John went with Joe. We saw the Velociraptor. The Velociraptor chased us. Okay, I mean, so like be very specific with who or what you're talking about, and also the verbiage. So what is going on? Don't just say it did that. That doesn't really explain anything or describe anything. Okay. Then it says use descriptive language. So if you remember, we worked on that when we did the setting assignment, where each one of you had that picture and you were supposed to use descriptive words to sensory words like with your touch, your feel, your taste, your smell, and so on. Okay, and you were supposed to describe that place as much as you could. And remember, there was the one group that did a really awesome story about the haunted house one. So that would be kind of what I'm looking for here. Kind of write it in story form, but also make sure you're being very, very descriptive of what it's like. Okay? And then lastly, written with effort and complete sentences. Okay, so they should have complete sentences, and they should show that you're actually trying to do your best on this. Okay? You know, if you have a bunch of three-word sentences that aren't capitalized and don't really make sense, and it looks rushed through, you're probably going to not get that point for credit. Okay. And it's only 5 points, so if you don't do one of these things, you're automatically at a 4 out of 5, which is an 80%. Okay, so make sure you're doing the best that you can do. And honestly, if you do the best you can do, you'll get a 5 out of 5 on all of these, provided that you put the date each time. Okay? So those are my expectations. Now, how I might suggest doing this, even though these are journals, these are kind of like the story of you and your group being on the island. So I know early on in the year we did the story, and a lot of you were doing your own stories, and you really liked that, okay? So my suggestion would be kind of look at all of the topics, okay? Maybe write those down on one sheet of paper, okay? And then look at what they say and say, okay, how can I create a fun, awesome, exciting, creative story using these topics? Okay, and then put your ideas down for what you think you might want to have happen for each one of these topics. Okay, then you can almost think about it as a story. Okay, even though you're writing journals, what you're writing is about what happened. Okay, and what happened would be like the story of what on the island. Okay, so even though these should be written as journals, they should really tell your story. So I think it would be easiest for you. Okay, this is just me giving my opinion. If you wrote down all of the topics, okay, then think about each one and what you could have happen with each topic and make it into a story. Okay, then once you have your idea for what you'd want your story to be about, then you can go back and describe what that part of the story would have been like with your journal. Okay, so what I wouldn't do is just go, okay, I'm going to go to task 10, journal objective 1, and I'm just going to start writing. Okay, because then you might be writing about a bunch of different things, and then by the end of entry 10, they kind of don't flow very well. They don't really make sense, one after the other. So I would come up with a big plan first before you just start writing your journals. And also, think about the other tasks, okay? Think about what the objective you have is from Pre-H Park Corporation. Think about what your itinerary said. Think about what supplies you brought. Think about the schedule that you made for this, okay? Really, your journals should have all of those things in them, okay? If you didn't bring a grenade launcher, then you probably shouldn't have a journal entry about you shooting a grenade launcher at a dinosaur. Okay, so use all of those things together to create your story, all right, and your journal entries. Now, here's what the directions say on the tasks. Okay, so it says, your writing holds the key to this adventure. Over the course of the mission, many unexplained and fantastic or kind of unexpected or crazy events took place. And then it says write a journal entry using the topic below. So I'll kind of go over those topics here, and then that'll be it for this one. First one, like I said earlier, is setting foot on the island for the first time. Your second one is the first time you saw a dinosaur. Okay. Your third one is one of the members of your crew goes missing. This one's exciting. Next one is the chase is on. Then we have reaching the main complex. Remember, that's something that you probably would like to have on your map. Next one, we are being hunted. Take note there, it doesn't really say hunted by what either, so you could be original with that. Next one, this one's cool. This wasn't an accident. So does that mean that something has been framed as an accident in the past? Maybe to keep some people out of trouble, and now you learn that it wasn't really an accident? I don't know. Next one, through the jungle. And I think this is the second last one. A surprising discovery. And then lastly, are we ever coming back? Now that could mean, are you ever going back home? Maybe that could mean you've accomplished the mission, and is anyone else ever going to go back to the island? I don't know, that's up to you. So those are your 10, or your task 10 objectives and prompts, okay? So again, above all, have fun, make it creative, make it original yourself, and just, let your awesomeness show through this, okay? So that is task 10, I think it was. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me or text or call or whatever, okay? But I'll be looking forward to seeing your journals once you're all done. So have a great Friday.